America converge on this one site once a year, and we are a collective brotherhood. And we have a lot in common with all of our brothers, even though we have different cultures and we come from different cities. And there isn't a man here that we can't connect with in seconds.
What's good about the fact that your men's team is part of an international organization?
You know, I think the thing that's good about it is there's things that we're able to draw from to be successful. You know, we have a tribe in the state of Washington, and we're able to draw the membership training program from Los Angeles. I'm down here speaking to various men about leadership training to bring ideas back to the men in Washington to help us be successful at what we're up to. We've grown by 50% since August. We're much more able to be successful being connected to others than if we were trying to do it by ourselves.
Here's what's really true. Some of the men on my men's team don't give a crap that we're part of any organization. They're on their men's team. You know, we're all men. We're all men. We're all looking at the same thing. We're all grappling with some of the realities of today's world. You know, we don't have to do it alone. Here's some things. In the Southwest region, they came up with this thing called a member training program. Wow, that's pretty cool. I hear that. Up in the Northeast, they came up with a Forge. They got this big get-together deal. Okay, so each of the regions, each of the places where men are, they do things a little differently. So nobody's got all the answers, and each of us has a piece of the answer. And I think it's very cool that we don't have to come up with everything ourselves. Here's one other thing for you. I'm proud to have kind of brought an idea to the table a couple of years ago that's resulted in this thing called the Kingmakers. So we've got these young men's type of weekends, Ultimate Adventure, the Boys' Rites of Passage from the different areas. And rather than all of them doing it by themselves in little silos around the place, they're all on a call now every couple of weeks, and they're collaborating with each other. So nobody has to make it all up again. So we should be able to take farther steps faster. That's exciting to me. See, I got the hair standing up now. That got me going. We don't have to do it ourselves. We're not alone out there. I love this. I love this.
I'm smoking a cigar made by a man from MDI, Frank Bellavia, and it's really tasty.
He made that cigar?
He didn't make it, but this is his blend. So he used to work in a cigar shop. He is now working for a distributor of cigars, and they allowed him to create his own blend. And this is it, and it's really nice. Here we are, we profess that we are an organization that mentors men to succeed, and there's a man who succeeded. And now he's taken it to another level, you know, in his field, and has created a piece of beauty. People will say, well, why are you in that organization? And that's it. I have an opportunity to contribute to men becoming successful, just as men contributed to me becoming successful.
Last May in New Jersey, I promised to create a cause for MDI, for our organization. Something that would be important and exciting. I talked about it last month in a video release. I didn't tell anybody what it was, just said that it would be exciting. So come on, follow me, follow me over here, or follow me over here. And the only clue was that it was going to be exciting. So I've taken on that challenge in a really huge way. And we're going to reveal what that is this morning. And the promise I have for you is not only will it be exciting, but it will change MDI, and that everyone that's here, everyone that's in the seat in this room this morning, and our entire organization is going to be changed by what is said and what is witnessed this morning.
When I was a little boy, 40 some odd years ago, there was no laws about striking your wife or your children. And I'm not here to talk to anybody about spanking your kids. This isn't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that, when your wife was out of line, it was okay to smack her around. There wasn't a law against it. It was part of the culture. It's part of most of our lives. Most of the men who are in this room that are of my age, that way, you're supposed to keep your wife in line. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Not don't spank it. Spare the rod. The rod is a stick. What I want you to do is watch this video. You may be sitting there going, ending abuse, that's like trying to change human nature. Well, I want to ask us to be those 12 gentlemen. I want us to put a stake in the ground and say, we don't know how, we all might be dead when we finish it, but we're going to start today. And we're going to move forward as the men who make a stand for ending this now.
Oh, 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 oh.
That's kind of how I figure it anyway.
Our job is to touch, move, and inspire so that we're not alone in this. That we're the leaders of it, but absolutely impossible for MDI to do this alone. There's new ways of being for human beings to be. Ways that humanity has not yet discovered. We will do that discovery.
You know, I get to sleep at night and feel safe. I get to be in a relationship and feel safe. And what I liked, what I appreciated about the video and about what you're taking on is raising my awareness that my experience in my life is not every woman's experience, not every child's experience, not every man's experience.
You know, what I wanted to see at this convention was a renewed partnership between the men and the women. And when I saw that, how can we not have a partnership around this?
It really, truly is. From years ago, I knew that it had to start with men impacting men. In terms of the male abuse, in terms of the female abuse for our children and our husbands, it's got to start with us. So it's, I'm just really grateful for the stand you guys are taking and for the invitation.
Hey, the audio. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, oh, oh. Dirk. Oh, yeah. Stand over here. Whatever you like. Hello, hello, hello. How was your setup? I heard it great. Excuse me? Whoa. I heard it all last year. Must have been really funny.
They teach all these like minutia tricks to like get women in bed, but then afterward you're left with you, and they see that you're not who you were. And so if you learn nothing else, nothing whatsoever in this class, I want you to learn that confident, cocky, over-the-top confidence, I'm right no matter what, even when I'm wrong, all the time, is what turns women on.
The metaphor of a jungle is like a marriage, you know. It's a rich, steamy, wonderful, sweltering place that can be the place where you can thrive and get all of the medicine that you need to survive in life, or it can kill you.
When a woman has a sense, intuitively, that a man is not quite in the place he needs to be in self-awareness, self-confidence, she will feel uneasy. True? It will cause you to feel a little unsafe, a little concerned. Is that fair? Okay. You guys get that? Have you recognized when a woman starts to do that? Probably not, because you're too busy worrying about your own self-esteem.
Whenever we've got something going on, we must always weave a story about it. Rationalization, justification, something that we can tell the world and tell ourselves so we can feel okay. Does that make sense? So, my story I'm telling about myself and others is I'm not very good at it. Somebody else has to do it for me because I'm not good at it, but I don't want to ask for help. The way the economy is going, it doesn't really matter anyway. God will take care of us, so these are just some of the stories that I float around in my head, and I also stories I tell other people. Do you get the idea of the story? Yeah.
Charitable organization. So sometimes they call it a foundation. We didn't really take the name. We are incorporated in the state of Oregon as a charitable corporation. We're not strictly a foundation, but we are a charitable organization.
So we're all human and we all make mistakes, but with a thorough CPR, we can ensure that none of our mistakes compromise the desired results or objective of our leader. We do this by polishing and implementing a comprehensive CPR and agenda specific to the event. Once this is approved, it becomes a guardrail. The CPR is a guardrail, and it gives you the ability to make some mistakes and still have the objective be met. The myth is you get married and live happily ever after. Who has experienced that? Marriage is a people creating, a people growing system. And that it was meant to be that way, it is that way, and it's functioning that way. What it means is that marriage, that relationships, committed relationships, are designed to make us grow up.
Because I have a women's group, I have women in my life, Jeff will say, perhaps you want to pick up the phone, or perhaps have you talked to women about this, or perhaps you want to talk to women about it. Because it's always really good for women to talk to each other because we can so relate to each other, whereas possibly man and woman cannot, especially when the emotions are high. And is there anything else you want to say about?
You know what? Sometimes it doesn't matter. Nothing's going to work.
Now, when it gets to the big stuff, I start wondering if I'm really that powerful. The law of attraction is not just putting out what you want and have it happen to you. There's actually 3 stages. You ask for what you want, and there's processes to help you get clear on what you want. Then you allow the opportunity to come. You have to let go and allow. And then the universe will deliver it. You have to be open to receiving it.
What's good about this problem that I haven't noticed yet? What's good about the fact that you don't want to do it? What's good about the fact that you got to do it? What's good about the fact that they're not enrolled? What's good about the fact that he's a jerk? What's good about the fact that I'm tired? The BP oil spill last April, was that a problem? So here's another question. What's good about the BP oil spill that we haven't noticed yet? What was good about it?
Raise awareness.
Raise awareness. What else?
Inspire new technology.
Inspires new technology.
Figured out a better way to cap it.
Figured out a better way to cap it. A problem's only a problem depending on how you define the problem. How you define the problem determines how you see the problem. How you see the problem determines how you feel. How you feel impacts, and I mean feeling, not just your feelings, but it creates a state in you. One of power, one of defeat, depression. How you relate to that problem changes what you can actually do about the problem.
Step 6. Visualize where you want to be. When I was learning to ride a motorcycle, one of the things that I heard over and over and over again is something that I want to use as a quote here. And there's a little spot in your workbook to put it, and that is, where you look is where you'll go.
I'm like, okay, look, every morning you've got to get up, and I want you to go into the bathroom, and before you brush your teeth, I want you to say, I am only human. And look at yourself in the eyes when you're doing it. I'm only human. And I did the best I could, but I'm only a human being, and I made a mistake, and I forgive myself. And if you do that for enough weeks or months, eventually you can reprogram your subconscious mind to let that go.
Men know that eventually they will make a mistake.
They'll screw up.
They'll screw up, And then what will be needed at that moment? Grace. So if they know you got it, they like that about you. And I want to point out that grace has nothing to do with your dress size or your hair color, or as Matt's always fond of saying, or whether your hair bounces when you run in slow motion.
So first I just asked him, have you ever told him you love him? Do you tell him you love him? And he said, well, he's too old for that. I said, my son's 44, I'm still telling him. What do you mean he's too old? I said, what is it about telling your son you love him that's difficult for you? Why don't you go there? And the next thing I asked him was, have you ever told him about your childhood? What have you told him about your boyhood? Because he had an alcoholic father who stole money out of his piggy bank for booze. And he said he had a tough time, and a mother who was sort of an enabler. I said, what have you shared with your son about your life and your struggles? Nothing. And I said, well, if you want to have a dialogue with him, and instead of just a monologue, if you want to have a dialogue with him, and you want to know about his life, don't you think it might help to tell him something about yours? And if you tell him you love him, at least you're telling him that you care. You really want to know because you love him.
I grew up with all brothers, and having a daughter has been a complete learning experience. One of the things I learned really quick was that when I raised my voice to her, I mean, she was in tears. And boys, they don't do that. And with her mother having the illness she does, and her mother and her, I mean, it's like murderer's row the way they go at it, that I have made a very conscious decision to really praise my daughter. And I mean, she's doing a great job. Honor Society, she's in a performing arts high school. And she literally sat me down this year and said, Dad, one of the things I love about you is you always say great things to me. You always tell me I'm doing a good job. And it makes me want to try harder for you.
I tell them, if I ever need to vent and I'm calling you for a bitch session, do not let me go past 60 seconds. Because the whole thought process, the 68-second process, is that's when the energy starts shifting around.
So it's like
I love and cherish my 58 seconds worth of bitching, you know? But I don't let it go past 68 because that's when it shifts to start coming at me. I'm attracting what I'm focusing on.
So we have this thing that we think we should, right? I should feel this, or I should do that, or I should choose my family. It's coming from the heart. The passion comes from your heart. It comes from right here. And it's for today. And as we go through, you're going to see how it's all going to be included. This is exclusive to help you get clear.
And what I found when I would visit regions, and what I found at the convention, just being with the men, being, when we had the cigar lounge in the Riviera, just hanging out on the lounge smoking cigars, is it gave me the opportunity to identify men who I did not know, who had real potential to bring something to the game that I wanted to have here. I didn't know them, but it opened up the window for me to see men. Rather than me coming in and saying, you're the man I want, I started to see men who had stuff to bring to the table that could fill the needs that I knew I had, that I didn't know where I was going to get them. So I didn't force myself to pick a man. I allowed that man to present himself to me. Jump and the net will appear.
Here I am, a little bit of you makes me your man.
tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good, good night. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Keep it up. We know what we say. Party every day, party every day. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be